Hello. Good afternoon. What's going on? Fidel is here. How are you? Warrior Solutions. You know what it is. Today's topic, hobbies. What are your hobbies? What have you done differently to make your life a smooth sailing? You know, the process. Listen. Hobbies. Hobbies will teach you patience. If you've never known patience, you don't know how to interact with patience. Hobbies will teach you patience. An example, and I give an example here in Florida. You ever been around someone who does fishing for fun? They'll go catch the biggest fish. After all that struggling of trying to catch it for an hour, trying to reel it in. Do you know how heavy it is? And then after catching it, they admire it, they take pictures with it, and they patiently put it back into the water. Hobbies, they make a difference. Give me a second. Let's share this. A watch party. What's going on? Greetings, Papa. Hi. Fred, what's up? Marwan, what's going on? Martin, easy. Yo, hobbies, man, hobbies. So hobbies will come in so many different characters. Not one single hobby applies for everybody. Like for me, it's soccer. Soccer, car engines, and motorcycles. That's what works for me. Those are my hobbies. I think the priority out of all those is soccer, the number one, right? But that's for me. For somebody, it could be reading a book. For somebody, it could be taking a walk. For somebody else, it could be just gardening. For somebody, it could be fishing, boating, biking, you name it. So many different ways. What is it that works for you? Have you identified with that? Do you also know that your hobbies sometimes will help you during the self-discovery, self-learning? You can learn so much about you through your hobbies. Self-discovery. You can learn how to be innovative through hobbies. You can network diligently through hobbies. You can be so creative through hobbies. Okay? You can make money through hobbies. Some people monetize their hobbies. They enjoy it so much they monetize it. What's your argument to that? Have you seen soccer players, football players, baseball players, all those people? They grew up. Those were their hobbies, their talents. But now, the fact that becomes their job, guess what? That person has something else that they do on the side as a hobby, to escape, to get away, to interact with self, to do those things we talk about, self-interview. You ever been in the time and space where you're so still and quiet, you think so clearly, it's like nothing is stressful, nothing is negative, nothing but passion and positivity and just the love for self. That moment, that quiet moment when you're only you and yourself are interacting, that's your hobby. That's when you're supposed to be connecting the most. It doesn't always work for everybody, but I encourage it. I encourage it so severely because it works. I believe in that. I believe in having hobbies. Yes, I understand people are busy. People are so busy with their lives, trying to, earn a living or whatnot. But people will also tell you, I don't have time for this, I don't have time for that. Yeah. That's all priorities. How you prioritize it is the difference. How you make time for it is the difference. I've also known that there's 24 hours in a day for everybody else. How come there are some people that make time for it and there are some that don't? I've also known that there's 40-hour working weeks. Hours a week. 40 hours working week, like here in the US, 40 hours a week. So what happens to the other, how many hours in the week? How come you haven't made an hour, 30 minutes, 15 minutes for your hobby? To connect with yourself, to rejuvenate, get extra energy. That space where it's just you. There's nobody tormenting your mindset. There's nobody discouraging you. There's nobody disassembling your whole characteristics, your whole being. That one moment when you get to appreciate you for you. Do you know through your hobbies, you can go all the way back and remind yourself what you used to do when you were younger. Remind yourself of those skill sets. Remind yourself of talents. Things that you used to be so passionate about. And now you can bring them to the forefront. And sometimes you can even come to the moment of trying to monetize that. Hobbies. They are essential. You know, they are not a must, but they are very, very essential to like, you know, day-to-day kind of life, you know, stress-free life, you know, happy life, you know, a proactive life, you know, because so many people that have no hobbies, chances are they are bored one way or the other, right? If you have so much time in your hands, you don't have hobbies, you're not so active, and you're not doing anything with your time, guess what? You're going to be so bored. Out of boredom, guess what's going to come about? Negative thinking. When you're bored, that means you're always thinking negative, because the moment you're thinking positive, then you're no longer bored, because you know how to channel that energy for the better for you. What are your hobbies? Have you identified your hobbies? Have you identified what works for you? Right? What is that like? What have you done recently that have made you feel some passion, love, encouraged, motivated? Okay? And then if you're stagnant somewhere, have you tried some kind of a hobby? Because a hobby is going to generate some interest. It's going to remind you about certain interests you have. You know, sometimes you just want that space where you need quiet, just for a moment, not for long. Sometimes you just need quiet away from distractions. You know, sometimes you get so distracted from so much that's going on, including social media and technology, that if you don't catch yourself and give yourself a break just for quiet, just that moment where you can connect with yourself and remind yourself of the good in you, you know, and those things that you want to pursue, you know. Sometimes the process you going through your hobbies, doing those things, it gives you time to self-reflect, self-interview, you know, plan, you know. And then sometimes through your hobbies, you network. You connect with your network that can actually benefit you for the better. You know, I have a friend of mine. He's 74 years old. He still plays soccer and he coaches too. Really, really good. I'm not going to lie, he's probably more fitter than me. Papa, you know him. Papa Carlos, that is. You know what I'm saying? But he told me a story about 34 years ago, how he got a job. He just got out of, he had graduated from college, he had been looking for jobs and he didn't find any. He had been looking for like 6 months, you know. So one time he was like, man, I need to go play soccer. Let me just go play soccer at the park, just get away and just, you know, kick the ball around and think. He got to the park and he found there was a company. There was a company there that they were having their annual picnic or whatnot, and they had sporting activities going on, and soccer was one of those. And one of the team or one of the departments that the CEO happened to be a team of that was a goalkeeper. They were a shorter player, a defender. So they just asked him, kicking the ball around, hey, can you fill in because we are missing a player, you know? If he went in and he covered and started playing. So the moment of him playing, you know, the keeper made a mistake. It was a silly mistake that could have been avoided. So he went off on him and said, how can you make such a mistake? You're supposed to be proactive. You're supposed to be vigilant. You're supposed to pay attention. You're supposed to be present right here. We are playing with some competition. What is this about? So he went off on the guy. And guess who the guy was? The goalkeeper. He was a CEO. Nobody had ever talked to him that way. After the game, the guy came and said, but who are you? You talk so much about competition. I see your energy and your passion. What do you do? What's going on? He gave me a story. Now I have no job. I'm looking for one. What did you do? What? Oh, man. He got a job. 34 years in the company. Imagine the power of hobbies. Hobbies do work. Okay? It's good. It's good to have hobbies. I encourage hobbies. Okay? Hobbies will help you discover who you are. It will help you release stress. It will help you give you an escape, you know, during that day-to-day work. It will teach you patience. Hobbies will teach you patience. Sometimes that's all you need is patience. Just a moment. They say a moment, give it, you know, time give it a moment and it will last forever. A moment. Sometimes that's all it is. You know? Because when you have hobbies, they are going to push you for the better. They will push you to reflect on yourself. Hobbies will push you to reflect on yourself. Okay? Hobbies will give you that sense of love, that sense of self-love, that sense of self-confidence, that sense, that lack of self-esteem, all of that. If you have hobbies, hobbies will help you with your self-esteem. Hobbies will help you with self-confidence. Hobbies will help you with understanding and knowing your possibilities, because then you get to connect so well. Hobbies will help you understand the depth of your work ethics. Hobbies will also help you realize so much out of you. Because during that given moment, there's nothing else that matters but the presence. When you're actively doing that one hobby of yours, whether it's just walking, whether it's playing soccer for me or coach. Soccer, I coach now. I play, but I coach. But I love the game. I love soccer so much. That 1.5 hours when I'm coaching, 2 hours in this case for my boys. That's it. I'm present. I'm right there in that given moment. That's all that matters at that time. That is it. There is no PTSD, TBI. There is no stress about nothing whatsoever. There is no worries about school and the endeavors. There is nothing. That moment is my moment. There is no worries about work and the missions and obligations whatsoever, because that's my time to connect with who I am. And that reminder is really, really important. That reminder will get your mind going. That reminder will get you away from that negative thought process. That reminder will remind you that, oh my goodness, I'm actually patient. Sometimes you find people are stressing about unnecessary. And then you're like, but yesterday I seen you on the soccer field, you are the most happiest. What happened? Well, why can't you just utilize the same attitude and apply it to the other areas that are stressful, so then they are no longer stressful? That energy. I also understand there are people that don't have hobbies, or perhaps their interests are different. But I encourage it. There's something that you really, really enjoy, frequently enjoy, So, have you identified that for you? What's your hobby? How is that hobby contributing to your well-being? Right? Have you ever taken time to just, during that moment, and remind yourself what you used to be like when you were younger? What were the interests like? For some people that are going through confusion, through that lost moment, trying to self-discover who they are, trying to dig themselves out of isolation, all of the above, right? If you look into your hobbies and start pursuing that, okay, whenever you can, you are going to be shocked. You will surprise yourself. Okay? You really will. I encourage hobbies all over the planet, not just here in America. I extremely encourage it for my veteran friends, That's what has helped me transition so much. So much. Hobbies. Now, for me, soccer being the hobby that I love so much. I grew up playing soccer, football we call it, right? So I've learned how to monetize it. It's no longer in vain. I still do my thing that I do on a daily basis, and the evenings, I go play soccer anyway. So because I know I have to play soccer in the evening at least 3 times a week, so what did I do in this instance? I went and started studying to be a coach and got all my licensing. So at least now I can monetize it. So now I coach. I get paid coaching, but doing what it is that I love, that was my hobby. That's what I talk about, monetizing your hobby. You can monetize it. The next thing that worked so well for me was cars, but engines, not just cars, engines. I will tear down the engine and rebuild it back up and make it run. Just because that moment I'm doing that, that's my time and space for me. Do you know how much I'm thinking when I'm building that engine? Do you know how much I'm self-reflecting when I'm building that engine? That quiet moment, that space and time where I'm just connecting with my energy and reminding the good about myself. And the fact that I taught myself how to build that engine to make it run from scratch. I've never gone to school to learn how to build no car. You can ask Papa, because I dang near messed up his driveway learning how to fix cars every day. You know, coming up. So, yeah. So those kind of hobbies, they will help. You know? So like for me going through the transition, that was a reminder. Wait, Fidelis, you played soccer. You remember how soccer used to make you feel? You know, if you remind yourself that, maybe that will be an escape for that little moment, you know, away from all this stuff that are just going on. So, you know, despite the injuries or whatnot, I started by just showing up at the park, just to watch kids play, watch guys play, you know. And then from there, I started getting into it, you know. I started getting into it slowly by slowly. I started getting better. Eventually, I'm into it. 10 years ago, that was. I'm still playing with the same guys I met that very first day. You know, I play with them. Some of them are watching right now. Owen, love, greetings. Okay? So yeah, hobbies do work. Hobbies do work. Okay? I understand time can be an issue sometimes because people have no time, right? But time management is a whole nother subject we must talk about one of these days. Okay? How creative have you become because of your hobbies? Okay? Have you thought about that? How have you grown for the better because of your hobbies? How have you utilized your hobbies to network? If you're somebody out there struggling, you can't find a job, you can't find this, you can't find that. But how have you networked utilizing your hobbies? Not just necessarily just going to these network places. Do you know how many people that are out there playing some kind of sport or something that are either doctors, lawyers, managers, CEOs, you name it, out there, but they show up at the park every day like everybody else? You know, I've played with doctors and never knew they were doctors until I got to know them really well. I've played with lawyers and never knew they were lawyers until I got to know them really well. Business owners, you know, once those conversations start coming about, the introduction, things of that nature, they get to know you, you know, hey, what do you do? Man, they kind of network. Before you know it, people have thrown your name left and right and say, oh, hey, anybody, something for this, you know what I mean? So it works. So sometimes out of your hobbies, you can network for the better too. You know, I know people always just want to network through like that's not even the traditional way, like whatever, the social way, or just going to these social events and things like that. But you forget that through your own hobbies, you know, you can also network, you can socialize, you can learn. You know, the thing about hobbies, man, hobbies will reduce boredom and redundancy. I guarantee it. There's somebody out there sitting around this week knowing they have a hobby, but they are bored and redundant and haven't done anything to better themselves. There is somebody out there. Then the question is, man, what's up? What are you thinking? Okay? Bear with me. Let me check and see if somebody is saying something. What are your hobbies? You know, sometimes ignoring your hobbies is, you might end up being or ignoring your gifts in life. Sometimes your hobbies are gifts. But how much of that do you understand? How much attention have you paid to that hobby of yours? You know, sometimes you're sitting there wondering what you're supposed to do with your life, but it's hidden in your hobbies. Sometimes you're questioning yourself, you know, doubting yourself and thinking, you know, the worst of yourself. And yet it's not true. And yet you could remind yourself about everything good about you, including your good work ethic and great, you know, how you enjoy doing something, how you can guide, how you can mentor, how you can advise, how you can manage, how you can lead. All those things can come about from your hobbies. Oh goodness. Look, Papa just threw something heavy. He says, hobbies can connect you to your environment without planning. You come around Wesley Chapel and ask for Fidelis Wanacello cage. They kind of know me. It's really because of my hobbies. So Papa, thank you for that. So much truth to that. You know? So think about this way. When you're bored, what usually happens? Chances are your thought process is leading you towards the negative side. Right? But when you get up and then go pursue an hobby, like something you enjoy to do, it becomes a reward. Because you're rewarding yourself with positive energy. There's growth there. There's nothing being taken away, but instead something is being added on. You know? Personal development sometimes, you know? They come through your hobbies. What's your take on that? What are you thinking about that? You know? I know that maybe you might think that hobbies are far from from your reach, but that's not true. They are within reach. They are right around the corner. Literally. You can literally just up and go. It's just a matter of deciding, a choice. You know? How are you connecting with that though? Or have you connected with that? Or is anybody here watching that knows what I'm talking about or can relate to that? How has this worked for you if you have? By the way, so many also use hobbies as an escape. You can literally use a hobby as an escape. Escaping from that darkness, that cloud, that dark cloud, from stress, you know, from hate, you know, just from negativity in general, you know, into, self-love, self-reflection, self-interview, planning, networking, you know, abundance in your work ethic, you know, your decision making, you know, your leadership skill set, you know, all of that can come about from your hobbies. You know, think about you going to play at the park somewhere, and then you're playing a basketball game or a soccer game, or you're doing something, or you're fishing, right? And then you, once in a while, because of your knowledge or because of how passionate you are about what it is you're doing at that given time, you can instantly become a teacher. You can teach somebody who is not doing it right and say, no, do it like this. You know, you ever never seen that? You ever never seen someone trying to reach out to you and say, oh, you're doing it wrong, do it like this? You know, just, it's their hobby, they're passionate about it. They're trying to take a moment to teach you. They don't have to do it, you know? But because that's the moment, that's the avenue for that, you know? Find your hobbies. They're within you, okay? They're just around the corner. Don't run away from them, okay? Sometimes it's good to avoid negative thought process through your hobbies. You know, Fred says, hobbies can connect to friends. Soccer is my hobby. It has connected me to many people. Fred, hobbies. You know, when I travel to many countries, I usually carry a pair of soccer shoes, cleats, just in case. You know, if it's friendly enough, when I show up and play. And then out of that, I network and make friends. I've made friends that way, by the way. I have made friends like that, that are still in touch with me to date, just out of an hobby. It works. If you find time for it, it works. You know, taking walks, hiking, volunteering, you know, sporting activities, fishing, you know, cars, motorcycles, just you being something that generates an interest, something that gives you joy, something that gives you an escape, something that just gets you grown for a moment, something that will remind you the depth of who you are, your strength. Very, very important. You must use your hobbies to identify something about you didn't know about. Hobbies will teach you things you don't know about or have never known. Okay? So, what are your hobbies? What's the level of seriousness with your hobbies? Do you try to make time for them? Or you just have this excuse of business, being too busy? Yeah, I've had it all. Oh, I'm too busy. Oh, we are too busy. Yeah. I know all about being busy. We used to do missions for like 19 hours out of 24 hours, maybe 16, 17, some days, you know, not often, those days, and still come back, but you still have to find time regardless of, just something to free up your mind and space for more, just something, man, yo, man, I used to, my friends, Tales, I don't know if you're watching, man, we used to play soccer, man, find a way just to kick something around, just to get out of that environment for a minute, you know, it will work. It was helpful. It gets you going. Listen. If you're isolated somewhere, somehow, if you feel lost in life, if you're bored and redundant and just completely clueless about whatever, maybe the starting point should be your hobby. Because your hobby is going to remind you joy. Joy is going to remind you love. Because all those are interests. Interests meaning they give you this good energy, this great feeling. You know, something interesting is always great feeling, right? It's something that, there's something about that just gives you energy that you just otherwise end up doing flawlessly, effortlessly. You just do it. You don't even think about it. You know what I mean? So you can utilize your hobbies to teach you that. You know? You know, I have to sum this up. I understand people are busy. I understand people have so much going on. I understand, you know, hello, David. I understand all of that, right? But I encourage you to make time. Make time for your hobbies. Identify your hobbies, okay? Make time for that. You'll be surprised. It's been lovely though. I appreciate you joining me, okay? Go ahead and share with me your hobbies and how well they work for you. I would appreciate that. But make time for your hobbies. Please make time for your hobbies. Make time for your hobbies. I encourage it. Out of that, you're going to dig out your hidden gifts, hidden treasures, you know, your hidden strength. You don't know. Just try it. Okay? It's been real. I appreciate connecting with all of you. Much love. Warrior Solutions. This is where we come for worry free. Okay? We talk about life in general. My love. God bless.